Hi everyone, Allison here, and let's do a fun collage foundation with mixed media collage out of magazine cutouts. I love my magazines. All of us have tons of it. So I have just sheets from magazines. I also have my cutouts of figures, models, etc. that I use for my cutout couture, I like to call it. So what we're going to do, we're using these pieces from the magazine as a base for our piece. Now, the substrate I'm using is just a piece of drawing paper. So it's from my pad. I think it had something on the other side. It's not, I'm just trying to explore and really experiment with what I have and also explore beyond the sketchbook and the art journal. So sometimes, challenge yourself a bit to go larger. If you always just work in your sketchbooks, that's great. Get a larger sketchbook. Just keep going up a little in increments because you will see how it really develops. So here I am using my acrylic medium. I'm using Liquitex here. It's kind of thick, so I added a little water to it because it's magazine paper, so it's not heavy paper. And I'm just using strips cut out from my magazine sheets. On the right-hand side, I just have sheets. Now, as I fill those areas, I'm filling all, and I'm leaving some of that negative space behind. It's really up to you. You could decide to paint the sheet of paper or not. At this point, I'm mixing a little more of my acrylic medium and I'm putting it down, and now I'm putting down my figures. Just cut out models, celebrities, figures, anything with figures, human figures in it from your magazines. And I have tons of them. I love to embellish. I love sometimes, and I do it so many ways. Sometimes they're the focal point on a page. Sometimes I embellish with flowers in their hair, etc. This time I'm using a series of them, all different sizes, and I am covering the page. As you notice, I just used random pieces before, and now I'm putting the figures on top. Now, all of these going through, I know they compete with each other, but we are going to find a way to unify everything, and they're not standing out as any kind of focal point. They actually, I'm using them and I'm pushing them back to be a background, to be my foundation. So at this point, I'm really having fun. I'm thinking about placing just in terms of large, medium, small shapes, right? And at this point, I'm filling in some of those areas all through with text from magazine sheets. So all of this is all magazine collage. So for all of you who have tons of magazines, use it up. I do, and I really enjoy using it up. As you can see there was an example of me putting a little water with the medium to make it thinner, and I'm just putting in my text all through, all around. And now this is what I love to do. This is a way I push back a background. This is a way I unify, because you use pieces of collage elements, especially shapes or figures, things that are known visually, what they are. They're not abstract. I like to push it back with a dry brush. Dry brush is exactly what it sounds like. So it's paint, thick paint, no water in it, so it's not a wash, and you're going over as if you're using out every bit of that paint in the paintbrush. And it might seem messy to you, but what it does, it unifies it. And what it does, it really makes it a lovely background to then work on top. So here I'm using a little of that water-based spray. This one, it's just one I had. I don't even remember the brand. It's not a very good brand. As you can see, it was not spraying properly. So I just opened it and splashed it. What I'm doing here is just what I call a glaze, or it's really a wash because I'm using a lot of water and I'm thinning it down. But a glaze is when you use a thin layer of paint and it gives you almost like a stain. So as you're seeing, I use the white paint with the dry brush, but now I use that kind of orangey yellow, and I use the water with it and just spread it to give it a nice thin layer over it, to stain it. It's not just going to be the white in there. And so that's what I did, and that is it. Look at that. It gives it a lovely foundation. Now at this point, I can then draw on top of it. And you see how I used some of that before in the past with my charcoal, etc. But you can do anything at this point. Enjoy.